Hello everyone, this is part 1 of What If Naruto Was Betrayed and Leaves Konoha, and this story is made by Kingkakashi, and I hope you guys enjoy this video and to like, to subscribe, and check out the playlist, to see more comment down below. Now let's start the intro.
They call me a god. They call me a god. They call me a god.
A shirtless Naruto was panting heavily as he continued his training, sweat glistening off his well-toned muscular frame, dripping from his forehead onto his chiseled chest. Before falling onto the ground, forming a small pool beneath him, as he mercilessly punched at the rock before him with his bloodied hands. Long gone was the usual trademark orange jumpsuit he used to wear, but now sported a pair of black Junin baggy pants much like ones worn by his old sensei Kakashi. The necklace that Tsunade had given him hung loosely from his neck, but discarded to the side was a Junin vest, and a black t-shirt. He had taken them off to cool down, so he would not have to halt his training, which at this point was nothing more than pounding away at a large boulder that shook with every hit and crumbled away into dust a little bit more with each blow. He felt no pain as his bloody fist smacked into the stone. The Jinchuriki-enhanced strength and healing properties of the young Junin was truly a marvel to behold. He said nothing as he hit the object before him, and cared not who might see him, training in the oppressive heat of the summer afternoon. Nothing mattered to Naruto anymore, even when he had everything he thought he had wanted, he was miserable. He had found Sasuke, 5 years ago, they both had been 18 at the time. A fierce battle had ensued. They had been evenly matched for a time, but in the cataclysmic climax of the battle, he had finally defeated the Uchiha, without killing him, and dragged him back to the Leaf Village. Upon their return, he had been hailed as a hero. Everyone praised him and he was finally receiving the recognition he had sought his entire life. Even Sasuke had thanked him for bringing him back. After that, Naruto had joined the Anbu and quickly rose through the ranks to become a Junin captain. He had even recently been recommended by the village council, the same council that had been a plague to him for years growing up, as the successor to Tsunade to become the next Hokage. This should have made him happy. Everything he had strived so hard to achieve was finally coming to fruition, but it did not make him happy. All Naruto had felt for the last 3 years was emptiness that grew a little more every single day. Naruto winced as he struck the boulder again, as his mind drifted to the people who had brought this endless sense of nothingness upon him. Sakura was now engaged to Sasuke after 5 years of being together. Hinata had long since married Kiba 3 years ago. Ino was an Anbu, as was Shikamaru. They had been dating for the last 2 years. Everyone was prosperous, as was he. But, what was there for him anymore? What purpose did he have? To be Hokage. He felt no drive, no desire for that position any longer. Part of that dream he had told no one about was to be able to share that success with someone by his side to love and be loved. Unfortunately, Kami, fate, or whatever had deemed that not to be, so what was the point of being Hokage if you're all alone? He found no joy in this village anymore, but oddly enough, he bore it no ill will either. What had happened to him? What did he feel? He felt nothing. As he turned to pick up his shirt and necklace and put them on when he heard a voice softly say, "I'm sorry, Naruto. I'm sorry for everything." He froze for a moment before turning on his heel to face her, his cerulean blue eyes locked coldly onto her widened emerald eyes, and he asked, "What was that?" Taking in a deep breath, she was about to repeat herself, but he stopped her when he snapped, the hate eating at his heart and soul. You're sorry for what, Sakura? For all the pain you've given me my entire life. From hitting me, belittling me, and finally humiliating me over the years. Are you sorry for using me as a tool to return your precious Sasuke-kun back to you? Is that what you are sorry for? Naruto's eyes were red and narrowed into slits as he fought desperately from letting his anger fuel the red chakra building within him from bursting forth. Or are you sorry because everyone in this village sees you for what you really are? A selfish manipulative bitch, who will use whatever means she needs to get what she wants, and if she doesn't throws a temper tantrum until she does. Sakura was at a loss for words, and managed to stammer out, what's come over you? Sakura pleadingly asked, the hurt of Naruto's words evident in her voice. Tentatively, she placed a hand on his shoulder, but he viciously slapped it off. Why are you so angry? Sakura asked in a worried murmur. Naruto laughed, but it was not the kind of laugh that was friendly. In fact, it was the furthest thing from friendly. This laugh, it was harsh and filled with anger, malice and rage. When he opened his eyes, they were as cold and unfriendly as ice, as he now spat at her with spite. I can't believe you have the audacity to ask me that question. When you above all others should know why I'm angry. I'm sorry, Sakura. I suppose you were expecting me to accept your apology with a smile on my face and jump up and down and follow you all over the place like a little puppy dog, just like I did when we were kids. Am I right? A chill went through Sakura's body at the sound of the venom dripping from Naruto's voice, and his glare broke her heart. Sakura had missed the way Naruto used to look at her. The way he would speak softly to her when she was sad, lonely, or needed support. That Naruto was gone, and the cold, brutal one standing before her now she herself had helped to create by her own hands. As he continued on. Well, let me tell you, I don't want anything to do with you. I'm not your little bitch anymore, Haruno. Nothing you could say to me would ever make me change my mind. I brought your Sasuke-kun back to you. What did you think, that you can just waltz in and say sorry and everything will go back to the way it was? Naruto snorted with derision, not waiting for an answer, and in a voice that was literally dripping with sarcasm said, Sweetheart, I am not falling for it. I was a fool once for you, but never again, never freaking again. I will not become the Jiraiya to your Tsunade for the rest of my life. Sakura fought desperately to hold back the tears that were trying to well in her eyes. What could she say? What could she do? Why didn't she realize after her encounter with him last month that he bore a deep hatred and anger towards her and had for a long time? Flashback 1 month. As Naruto stumbled out of the bar with an open bottle of sake in his hand, it was late and he was drunk, very drunk. Naruto had tried to convince himself that the reason he was hammered was because he was celebrating. Alone, of course. His celebration being the fact that on his last mission he had broken Hatake Tsukumo, the legendary White Fang, and his former sensei's father's record for most kills in Anbu history. Such a feat had garnered him much praise throughout the village, so why not celebrate the achievement? However, deep down Naruto knew the only reason he got drunk, which was getting more frequent, was to drive back the memories of 3 people over the last 3 years. When Naruto staggered over to a lamppost and leaned against it to steady himself to take another drink, a friendly voice called out, Hey Dobe. Looking over through half-lidded eyes, Naruto spied his 2 former teammates, and any merriment he had been feeling quickly disappeared, as he coldly replied before taking another swig of the bottle. Team Sakura. Both Sasuke and Sakura shot pensive looks at one another before they approached Naruto, and Sasuke said, Hey Naruto, we've been looking everywhere for you. We heard you got back from your latest mission and wanted to find you before you left on another one. You've been doing so many missions these past 3 years, we've hardly ever see you anymore. Well, now you've found me, what do you want? Naruto replied in a bored tone of voice. Sakura and I have some exciting news and we wanted you to be the first to know. Go on Sakura, why don't you tell him? I don't know Sasuke, maybe we should wait until Naruto's feeling better. I feel the same way I always do Sakura, so go ahead and tell me this exciting news. Naruto commented in a monotone-sounding voice before taking another drink. Nah Naruto, we. Well, Sasuke and I wanted to announce that we are going to be getting married soon and. Sakura stammered. And we want you to be the best man. Kami Sakura, it's not that hard to say. Sasuke stated with annoyance at his fiance's stammering, as he finished her sentence. Anger and jealousy burned at Naruto's soul and he clenched his fist until his knuckles turned white, but forced a smile for Sakura and Sasuke and firmly said, Congratulations. Naruto then brought the bottle up to his mouth and took another large swig of the burning liquor. Is that all you have to say, Dobe? Sasuke queried. What more do you want, team? I want you to be my best man. Sorry, I don't think I can do that. Why not? Because I'm busy these days, you yourself said it. I have a lot of missions that need to be accomplished over the next few months. I've been given a lot of responsibility in the Anbu and I have no way of attending the wedding. Our wedding is going to be next month, Naruto. You can't take 1 day off for that, for me and Sakura. I can't Sasuke, my responsibilities concern the safety of the Leaf Village, so I can't. That's bullshit and you know it. That was the straw that broke Naruto's proverbial back, as he had been keeping in all the anger, envy, and resentment he had felt for a long time for his former teammates. Seething with rage, he glared at the engaged couple and angrily declared, You know what's bullshit? It's bullshit that after everything I've given to you team, literally, that you two have the nerve to ask me that, and then when I say I can't, you try and guilt me into doing it. You know what? Fuck it. I may or may not have a mission next month, but whether I do or not, I can tell you one thing: I won't be attending your wedding. After everything you've given me, what the hell are you talking about, Dobe? Sasuke shouted with angered confusion. Naruto shot a quick look at Sakura, who had remained silent with her head bowed down, and then it hit Naruto like a ton of bricks, who suddenly realized and said with low mocking laughter at her. Ha, 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 he doesn't know, does he? After all this time and he still doesn't know. Ha, 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 ha. Naruto then turned around and walked away, his maniacal laughter growing in intensity as he left his teammates standing in the street. End of flashback. Taking a deep breath, Sakura nodded and did her best to mask the pain she was feeling inside before softly saying, I understand, I won't bother you ever again, Naruto. I just wanted you to know that I'm truly sorry for all the pain I've caused you and deeply regret my past actions towards you. I never meant to hurt you, but I did, and I'm sorry, and there's nothing more that I can say other than that. Turning away from the young man, she held her head up high as she walked off of the training field and towards the Hokage's office to report in from her mission. After that, when she was alone in her apartment, then she could cry. For little did Naruto know that she had broken off her engagement with Sasuke, as both of them had decided to go their separate ways. Naruto watched her go, and when she was gone, he angrily swung around and with a chakra-enhanced fist punched a tree that seemed to explode on contact, as wooden chunks of shrapnel fell about the training grounds like rain falling from the sky. Damn it! His rage-filled scream echoed in the air, before he slumped down to the ground. Naruto mentally cursed at himself for melting to her words, and then attacking her with his. A large part of him felt that she deserved it, but his heart cried in agony. It was not just her, but she was a part of it. Where had he gone wrong? Why wasn't he deserving of some happiness? Somewhere along the way, he had lost himself, and he knew not how to replace what he had lost. Love, joy, happiness. Naruto now realized he would not find any of that here. All he found here was nothing but pain. So what purpose did he have any more in his life? Naruto looked down at his Junin vest still lying on the ground for a moment before kicking it away. This place was too much for him. She along with the other two had been too much for him. Everything in this village was just too much and he was going insane as a result. He had to leave. It was late into the night and no one was awake. So, there was not a soul present to see one blonde young man with a pack strapped to his back walking calmly towards the gates of the village. Or so he thought. In a swirl of leaves, Sasuke appeared before him, clad in Junin attire with arms crossed over his chest. His black obsidian orbs fell on the backpack Naruto had shouldered, and he frowned, as he put two and two together. Naruto was leaving. Naruto's cold cerulean blue eyes met his and he said nothing. He took a step forward, but Sasuke was in front of him in an instant, barring his path with his arms out to block him, as he asked. Naruto, what's wrong? There was genuine concern resonating in Sasuke's voice, as he remembered going down a similar path years ago. A dark path Naruto had saved him from and had shown him the light. He owed his friend that much, to steer him away from this path. Naruto's eyes narrowed as he was stopped, and a second later, there was a kunai pressed against Sasuke's throat, held by him as said demanded with seriousness. Move, Sasuke, don't make me kill you. Sasuke shook his head, ignoring the small trickle of blood it drew, as the blade nicked his throat. No, this isn't the Naruto I know. You saved me from this dark path and I won't let you now go down the same path. A dry and bitter laughter filled the air, as Naruto shook his head before saying, Sasuke, you just don't get it, do you? He leaned in now, and whispered into the ear of his best friend. The Naruto you knew is dead, he died 3 years ago. Sasuke frowned at this as Naruto pulled back and he angrily shouted at his friend. Barker, I refuse to believe that. You're still the same loser, the same teammate, the same best friend. Naruto scowled at him now, and the Uchiha knew a different tactic was in order and exclaimed. Sakura broke off the engagement. She wants to be with you. I told her to listen to her heart. Naruto paused for a moment before he lowered the kunai, and Sasuke saw a grave sadness in the eyes of his friend. I'm sorry, but it doesn't matter anymore, Sasuke, I can't stay here, it hurts too much. I won't betray the village that I swear to you, but neither can I stay here any longer. What's been taken from me, I can never get back if I stay here. In a flash, he was behind Sasuke and the Uchiha heard Naruto quietly say. Thank you for being my friend. Sasuke then felt everything go dark from a quick chop to his neck. As his friend collapsed to the ground, Naruto turned around to continue his journey, and in one monumental leap, soared over the village gates and into the night. His life was uncertain except for one thing. Naruto Uzumaki had left the Leaf Village. Naruto silently walked along the dirt road, not caring where he went, but just content to keep walking. 3 days ago, he had just committed an act of treason. He had deserted the village hidden in the leaves and killed Sasuke in the process, who had desperately attempted to stop him. However, nothing and no one could have stopped him that night. Naruto felt if he had spent just one more day in the village, it would drive him to madness. And once he had left, it felt good to have the wind in his hair and fresh air in his lungs, as he let out a comfortable sigh. Naruto felt just a bit happier now that he was out of the village and commented to himself, "I hope they can understand why I left." Then it hit him, like a chakra-enhanced punch from Tsunade. They wouldn't understand why he left. All they would be concerned with was the fact that he had left. The stark realization finally sunk into Naruto that he was a missing nin now. What's more, he was a Junin captain of his former village, so they would never stop looking for him. He would be hunted down and be dragged back to the village, or killed outright to preserve the secrets he knew of Konoha from being revealed, as Naruto thought to himself. Perhaps this was what Sasuke had lived with, when he left the village, all those years ago. Was it this bad, this feeling of always having to look over your shoulder? Naruto didn't like this feeling, not one bit. The thought of fighting his friends was not a pleasant one to him, and it made him frown for the first time since he left at the thought of having to see the life fade from their eyes, to have their blood on his hands. He quickened his pace a bit, as worry clouded his features before he exclaimed, "I have to get out of here and fast, but where to go?" He needed to find a place to stay for a little while to elude the tracker ninja that would undoubtedly be sent his way soon. Naruto knew his initial deterrent to stop them had been only temporary measure at the time of his departure. Konoha would never give up hunting for him, that much was for certain, as he stopped walking and contemplated with himself. But where should I go? I can't take up refuge in Suna, at least not yet. That would put Gaara in a bad spot politically. Still, I have to think of somewhere to go. I can't just walk around aimlessly. Then it hit him, and he knew exactly where he could go. Even if it were just for a brief amount of time, he would be safe there. Flashback 3 days. Tsunade felt tears start to well in her hazel-colored eyes, as a bedraggled Sasuke walked into her office and gave her the heartbreaking news. "I'm sorry, Hokage-sama, it's no use." When Naruto left the village, he created a few hundred clones and sent them off in various directions. The Inuzuka trackers can't tell which trail is the true scent of the real Naruto. The Dobe could be anywhere by now. Instantly, the Uchiha received an accusing glare from the Godime Hokage, not liking Sasuke's insulting nickname for Naruto, as she spat with condemnation. "Never call him that in front of me again, Uchiha, and I want to know, did you have anything to do with Naruto leaving?" "No, Hokage-sama, in fact I tried to stop him, which is why I look the way I do." "Alright, I want the whole story. How did Naruto respond when you tried to stop him?" Sasuke sighed as he ran his left hand over his face, not sure if he should mention this next part, but knew he couldn't refuse his Hokage and begrudgingly answered. "At first, he threatened to kill me, and then when I told him that Sakura and I had broken off our engagement, he said that it didn't matter because the old Naruto died 3 years ago. He promised on our friendship that he wouldn't turn on or betray the village, but he said he just couldn't stay here anymore. He mentioned something about what's been taken from him he can never get back if he stayed here." Tsunade buried her head in palms of her hands, as the buxom blonde Hokage wasn't 100% certain, but she had a pretty good idea what Naruto was referring to, and the guilt of her role in that affair overcame her and she began to weep. After a few minutes, she inhaled a deep breath, raised up her head up from her palms, and when she did, her expression was unreadable. "He may be a friend to us all, but we can't let him leave the village like he did. As long as he has the QB sealed within him, he is a dangerous threat to our village. Not to mention all the secrets of the village he possesses as well. Because of all of that, I'm going to have to list him as an A-rank missing nin." Sasuke was stunned beyond words upon realizing with horror what that meant for his friend and surrogate brother, as he shouted with disbelief, "You want him dead?" Tsunade said nothing as Sasuke glared at her, while the Uchiha's mind drifted to the memory of his fight with Naruto 5 years ago. When the blonde shinobi had literally beat the hell out of Sasuke, and just when Naruto was about to deliver the final blow and end Sasuke's life as he should have, he relented. The memory of that day was forever ingrained into Sasuke's mind. Memory flashback 5 years. A battered and bloody Naruto stood over an equally beaten Sasuke. His hand held a red Rasengan, and it was poised ready to deliver the final blow to the downed Uchiha, who lay motionless from the wounds Naruto had inflicted. So immense was Naruto's power that he had used only 6 of the 9 tails of the great and powerful Kyuubi no Yuko. Sasuke coughed up some blood, and glared at his rival before spitting. "Finish it, you stupid dobe, put me out of URK." Sasuke gasped in pain, as Naruto's free hand suddenly lashed out and grabbed him by his collar, hoisting the Uchiha into the air, leaving his feet dangling off the ground in midair as he was held there by his foe. Just like Sasuke had done to him in the Valley of the End. "No," was the lone word Naruto spoke, as he lowered his chakra-covered hand, extinguishing the red Rasengan he held within it, releasing the red energy, as his eyes faded to their cerulean blue color before the blonde shinobi shouted with determination. "You're coming back to the village team, whether you want to or not." End of memory flashback. Sasuke smiled nostalgically at that memory. He fought like a demon that night, and yet he spared me. Then the reality of what the Hokage had just done re-emerged and rage overtook him, as he shouted with fury. "After all he has done for this village, all he has done for me, all he has done for you, and you want him dead? What kind of Hokage are you?" The 5th Hokage knew exactly how he felt, but she would not tolerate insubordination. Slamming her hands down on her desk with an audible, ear-splitting crack, she scowled at the angry Uchiha before her before firing back in response. "Fool, I said a rank not S-ranked, which is an automatic kill on sight order. And damn it, I don't have a choice, but to list him as a missing nin. The civilian council led by Danzo and those 2 old crones of my sensei's teammates are just looking for a reason to force me to step down as Hokage. So if it looked like I was showing favoritism by not issuing that rank on missing shinobi of Naruto's caliber because of who he is, that would just be the ammunition they need to oust me. HN, what a brave Hokage you are." Sasuke snorted sarcastically. "Listen, you little brat, there is no other way." Looking at the picture of him and Jiraiya on her desk, Tsunade exhaled a sad sigh for her now dead teammate. In the picture, he and a younger, more cheerful Naruto were both smiling brightly, eyes closed and flashing the peace sign to the camera. The image of Naruto and Jiraiya having calmed her down, Tsunade looked up and said in a somber tone of voice. "The Akatsuki were never finished off Sasuke. Naruto may be above Sannin or even a Kage level now, but so was Jiraiya back then, and we all know what happened to him." Sasuke hung his head in sad remembrance. The memory of Naruto weeping over the pervert's grave, it was still painfully fresh in his mind. The Sannin had been like a father to the hyperactive blonde much of his life, and now he too was dead. Another of his precious people forcefully ripped away from him. Tsunade's next words made him feel like screaming, as he was helpless like a child in this situation. "Uchiha Madara and the other Akatsuki are still out there. We cannot allow them to get a hold of the Kyuubi, for if they do, it will be the end of us all. I can't, no, I won't let him be killed. I have to get him to come back." Sasuke silently mused before asking. "Hokage-sama, give me 2 weeks. I'll try everything within my power to bring him back." Tsunade was more than happy to give him that time. "Permission granted. But make it fast, Sasuke, and if he won't come back, then you know what you have to do. As it is right now, I have to send out at least 1 Anbu team to try and find him to placate and appease the council. I don't know if that's wise, Lady Tsunade. If pushed too far, then Naruto may just kill the Anbu squad if they find him before I do. Perhaps, this is why I'm going to send the Anbu team ISC. It's still a risk given Naruto's past relationship with one of them. I know, but I'm counting on that past relationship to keep Naruto in check if they do find him before you do. This is why you need to find him first, Sasuke." "Hi, Lady Tsunade," Sasuke quickly replied before vanishing in a swirl of leaves. Only then, when she was certain that she was alone, did Tsunade burst out into tears, anguished at what she had just ordered, the sobs racking her body as she let the water flow freely. What an age they lived in when the young were forced to die before they ever got a chance to grow old, as she stammered. "Naruto. I'm so sorry." However, unbeknownst to Tsunade, a young woman with lavender-colored eyes had come by to drop off the daily hospital reports on the patients currently treated and had heard the entire conversation between the blonde Hokage and Sasuke. With tears streaming down her face to match Tsunade, Hinata Inuzuka ran out of the waiting room outside the Hokage's office. The former Hyuga heiress had just made a decision, and soon Naruto would not be only Leaf Shinobi listed as a missing nin before the day was through. End of flashback. Naruto felt a smile tug at his lips, as he stepped off the bridge and inhaled the deep sea salt air of the ocean. And when he looked around the island, his eyes widened a bit, as he saw that over the past few years the wave country had prospered into a respectable community that was bustling with life. Naruto turned around to look back at the mainland, and when he did, he spied the sign that was hung just over the bridge. Upon closer inspection of it, he felt tears of pride begin to well in his eyes. They named it after me, I'll be damned. Naruto thought to himself as he read the sign. The Great Naruto Bridge, built in honor of the hero who helped free us from oppression and gave us our courage, our faith, and our lives back to us. He will always be welcomed here, for as long as he wishes to grace us with his noble presence. Then he calmly walked off the bridge, making his way to the one place he needed to go. Tazuna nearly fell out of his easy chair, as a now teenager Nari burst through the door, slamming it against the wall and nearly giving the aged man a heart attack from the ruckus his grandson had created. Inari now had his crossbow strapped to his back, as he was clad in a white muscle shirt, and grey torn and faded jeans. His face was alight with glee and excitement, and he was impatiently tapping his foot on the wooden floor, as Tazuna recovered himself. Grandpa, guess what? Tazuna groaned as he put a hand over his chest, his heart now beating like a drum. What's so important that you nearly gave me a heart attack? Damn it, Inari, why do you have to scare me like that? Tazuna was too old to be spooked by most things anymore. However, much to his aggravation, his grandson still managed to scare the living daylights out of him on a daily basis without fail. And this time was no exception, as Inari paid him no heed to his complaints, for he was visibly jumping up and down with excitement. It's Naruto. He's come back. That nearly gave the aging bridge builder another heart attack, as his eyes bugged out of his head and he exclaimed. What? He came back, ye say? Tazuna was out of his chair in an instant, and his sandals met his feet a moment later, as he stood in front of his enthusiastic grandson, his own face now alight with happiness. That's wonderful news. Where is he? Inari now grabbed the hand of his grandfather, and roughly dragged him outside. Come on. I'll take you to him. Naruto let out a sigh as he looked down upon the graves of both Momoki Zabuza and his protege Haku, the massive sword of the Demon of the Mist, now strapped to his back. It felt wrong to take the blade, it made him feel like a grave robber, but he needed it for protection, and the sight of the Great Beheader would give any opponent some pause before they attacked. Forgive me, Zabuza, but I will need this, and I will do your name proud with it. As Naruto turned around, a wind blew past him from behind, and he could have sworn he heard a whispered voice say, "Take it." That was all the confirmation he needed, and grasping the hilt from its place on his back, he felt the presence of Zabuza, the man even through death who had led Naruto to form his own Nindo so long ago. This blade would serve him well, much like it had its former master. Naruto would honor the finely carved steel, and take good care of it. Naruto exhaled a sigh. If he was to be hunted, then he had found the means to defend himself. He would stay in the wave for a short time until he could map out his next move. However, the blonde shinobi mused that he needed a disguise of sorts, as he thought. I wonder if there's a mask maker around these parts. Naruto Nizan. Looking over his shoulder, Naruto felt a rare grin grow on his face, from ear to ear when he saw Inari and Tazuna racing towards him, whilst the elderly man was being pulled along by his grandson. It was an amusing sight as the aging man was visibly out of breath, as his grandson released him to race towards Naruto, who looked and was genuinely happy to see them again. Hey, old man. Inari. Naruto turned to face them fully and greeted them warmly, truly happy to see that they were alive and well. A moment later, Naruto was nearly tackled to the ground, as Inari grabbed the taller man in a big bear hug, overjoyed to see his friend after so long a time. You came back. This is so cool. Naruto chuckled as he got an arm loose, and gave Inari the noogie of his life, causing him to release his friend for the bone-crushing grip. Yow. Take it easy. You'll burn my scalp off. Tazuna laughed as he watched the two goofing around. Simmer down, Inari, let Naruto breathe. Naruto laughed as he was released, then noticed the crossbow strapped to the teen's back. Looks like you've been practicing with that thing. Inari beamed up at his lifelong friend, and gave him thumbs up. I sure have. I can hit coin 50 yards every single time. Inari proudly boasted, before the young boy noticed the massive sword strapped to the back of the X-Leaf Junin, as well as the scratched leaf headband he wore now shifted to the side much like Zabuza's had been. Naruto Nizan, why do you have Zabuza's sword? Tazuna's smile collapsed into a frown, as he watched Naruto's face fall a bit as the blonde shinobi tried to explain. Well Inari, you see. However, Tazuna interrupted him and said, Inari, why don't you go let the townsfolk know that the hero of the wave has returned to visit us? That's a great idea Grandpa, everyone will love seeing Naruto Nizan again. Inari exclaimed before racing off. Tazuna then turned to Naruto and with a grim look on his face asked. You left the Leaf Village didn't you? Naruto sadly nodded his head in confirmation. I can't hide anything from you, can I old man? Tazuna shook his head as he moved his aching legs forward, and placed a hand on the shoulder of Naruto. You sure can't. I'm still alive for a reason. So, do you want to tell me why you left? Not right now, maybe later if that's alright with you. Tazuna nodded in understanding, but then his face lit up again, as he slapped the blonde on the back jovially and said. That's fine, but enough of that, let's go back to my place and have a welcome back party and you are the guest of honor. Naruto felt like his old self, as he sheepishly scratched the back of his head. Yeah, I'd like that. Tazuna laughed, and slapped him on the back again. Ah, it really is good to have the hero of the wave here with us again. The bridge builder now gave him a thumbs up of his own, then did an about face, and began to lead the way down the hill strutting proudly when he saw a crowd of people with Inari at the front had assembled at the bottom of the hill. Turning his head around he shouted back to Naruto who was lagging behind. Well come on then, your adoring fans are waiting for you. The growing crowd beneath them cheered, as Naruto raised a hand in greeting and several of the more youthful teens started to chant. Naruto, Naruto, Naruto. By the time they had come down from the hill, it had grown from a small whisper into a loud roar, and the bashful hero found himself shaking hands and answering questions with people he didn't even know. Thanks. No, it was no trouble at all. You're welcome. This felt better. Here he did not have to endure any anxiety, stress, or pain like he did in Konoha. Naruto knew could not stay here long, but for a moment he felt at home and at peace. Naruto gave off a low whistle, as he peered into the distance, and saw the extent of the large crowd, which seemed to stretch on without end. He felt Inari grab his wrist, and drag him through the crowd, leading after Tazuna, who also had to struggle to get through. Damn, what a turnout, muttered the missing nin, still awed that this many people would go out of their way just to see him. Inari nodded as the crowd thickened, then thinned. What did you expect Naruto Nizan, you're a hero here. Naruto was about to reply when he suddenly frowned and looked off towards the forest about a mile away. In the forest, a man sighed as he swept a strand of black hair away from his face, while he spied Naruto through a telescope in the crowd below. Heaving a weary sigh, he signaled his two companions to hold their position. They needed to get at Naruto when he was alone to spare any innocent civilians harm in case things went bad. So they would bide their time and wait, but one thing was for certain, as a thought went through the young man's mind. Well, we've found him, I almost wish we hadn't. Damn, I have a nagging feeling that this is going to be troublesome. Tazuna and Inari were giving Naruto a tour of the town, as a crowd of people followed closely behind them. The trio walked at a leisurely pace with Naruto taking in the surrounding area with awe. Stores, hotels, and restaurants littered the main street and every building thrived with the sense of newness. There were people everywhere, eating, talking, walking, and the blonde shinobi realized that the bridge had done more than just bring commerce to this small country. It had also brought life and hope. Even now Naruto was surprised by how much had changed in the past few years. Gone were the dilapidated buildings and starving orphans. Gone was the silent, eerie dreariness that seemed to seep into your bones with every step. In its place was a whole new town, fresh and lively with action, exactly the way it should have been from the beginning if not for Gato's tyranny. It took quite a bit of time to get to Tazuna's house due to the large crowd, but at last they made it, and when Naruto saw the house Tazuna gave a gracious bow to him and said, "Here we are, my humble abode." Naruto gawked at the size of the bridge builder's home. In no way, shape, or form could the castle that stood before them be called humble. The house was probably bigger than Naruto's whole apartment building, and 20 times nicer. From the outside it looked like a traditional Eastern home, complete with black trimmed sliding doors and windows. Dozens of bushes and plants surrounded the complex, and opening the black cast iron gate fencing in the yard, Tazuna waved for him to enter. Come on in, no need to be shy. I've already told Tsunami that we might be having guests. Still in shock, the missing nin walked up the long narrow pathway leading to the front door, marveling at this large palace-like home before saying with wonderment. Whoa, how did you get such a huge place? What happened to your old house? The man let out a loud sigh, glancing over his shoulder at Naruto, and his tone held just a trace of regret. To be honest, I'd wanted to stay right where I was. However, after completing the bridge and being voted village chief by the residents, they all insisted that I move into a home fit for my position. The blonde nodded his head, eyes still wandering over the vast property, realizing things had definitely changed since the last time he had been here. Tsunami, guess who's here? Tazuna called out, unlocking and sliding open the front door to the mansion. A young, black-haired woman poked her head out from around the corner. Naruto-kun, you really are here. She gasped, obviously surprised by his presence. He blinked a bit, amazed at how she still looked the same, even after these years. Hey Tsunami-chan, it's good to see you too. She gave a courteous bow to him, as did he to her. Please, come in, I'll have some tea ready for you all in a moment. Just as quickly as she had come, the brunette woman disappeared again. Naruto blinked at how fast she had moved. Tazuna noted this and gave a small shrug before commenting. You heard her, this way. Tazuna then led them through the house, as Naruto took the chance to study the interior of the mansion. If it was possible, the inside was even more impressive than the outside. Large, colorful wall scrolls hung from the pristine white surface of the walls, and various pictures of Tazuna and his family sat on the smooth wooden surfaces of the tables. Naruto recognized most of the photos from the old house, but he was surprised to see one of him, Inari, Tsunami, and the rest of Team 7 at the official finishing of the bridge party they'd held the night before the departure. He smiled sadly, as he noticed that he and Sasuke were smirking at the camera with matching grins, arms hanging over each other's shoulders in a rare display of camaraderie. It was hard to believe that they'd fought to the death, not once, but twice, and that he had ended up as the one who left the village, whilst Sasuke had ended up perfectly happy and content there. Ah, such poetic irony. He hated irony. Inari noticed this, and nudged his friend in the side, a worried expression on his face. Naruto Nizan, are you alright? Naruto blinked twice, then shrugged his shoulders and smiled, as he returned his gaze to the picture. Ah, it's nothing, I was just wondering when this picture was taken. Oh, that, I took it right before you guys left. I could get you a copy if you'd like. The blonde shinobi gave a small sad smile, before somberly saying. That's alright Inari, I don't need any reminders of my past life anymore. The young boy looked at Naruto with confusion before his grandfather's voice called out. Inari, why don't you go help with the preparations for the party outside in the courtyard, while Naruto and I talk for a bit? Oh okay Grandpa. Inari hesitantly replied, before looking back to Naruto who nodded his head in appreciation. Satisfied that everything was fine, Inari sprinted away, while Naruto jogged to catch up to Tazuna. The two men walked down the corridor until they reached a large, open porch overlooking the backyard. Tazuna motioned for Naruto to take a seat on the throw pillows surrounding a low table. So, Naruto, what brings you back to the wave country? The bridge builder asked, plopping down on the pillow at the head of the table. Naruto gave a small sigh. As you said before, I've left the Leaf Village. Tazuna nodded sagely, as he took a swig from a nearby sake cup. Yep, but I would like to know exactly why you left. If you're worried that I'm some sort of criminal on the run, I can assure I'm not. I left the Leaf Village because things have changed for me over the years Tazuna-san, and the changes in my life weren't as prosperous or beneficial, as they have been for you. I really don't want to go into details about why I left. You just have to trust me when I say that staying there brought me no joy anymore, only pain these past few years. I just don't want to hurt any more Tazuna-san, that's all, can you understand that? Naruto said in a choked and stammering voice. I can understand that Naruto, and I trust you. Why don't you stay here in the wave? Everyone would love for you to call our land your new home. In fact you could stay here, we've got plenty of room and it would make Tsunami and Inari very happy if you did. As Tazuna was making his offer to Naruto, he heard Inari shouting some unintelligible babble into the loudspeaker outside and the crowd cheered in response. I appreciate the offer, you have no idea how much it means to me. As much as I might want to stay here, I can't. Konoha isn't just going to let me walk away. They'll be sending Anbu squads out to hunt me down and it would only be a matter of time before they track me here. I won't put all of you or your home in any danger because of me. So, I'll have to be leaving again very soon. You can at least stay for the celebration, can't you? Yes, I can stay for that, but before Inari gets the party started I need to ask, do you know of any good mask makers in these parts? Tazuna's brow crinkled in thought, as they heard more unintelligible babble from Inari outside. Well, there is this one guy the first know and he lives on the outskirts of town, but he isn't cheap and rarely comes into town. Then I guess I'll have to go to him and you don't have to worry about expenses. Naruto replied with a grin, as he pulled out a large pouch of coins before adding. I am sorry I won't be able to stay longer, old man. Tazuna gave a small hick at Naruto's apology before smiling and declared. Ah, that's all right, my boy. Just the fact that you have returned to visit us is good enough for this old man. Now let's get the guest of honor to his own party. Hours later, the celebration was in full swing, with nearly the entire populace of the Wave Country present for the bash. Naruto leaned against the wall, quietly drinking a cup of sake, whilst a tall girl with dark hair clad in a traditional white kimono looking to be about 15 was talking to Tazuna, who looked to be getting drunk by the minute. Now, what's with the great Naruto bridge? Surely this, Naruto, didn't do anything great enough to get a bridge named after him. I'm quite curious about it myself, said another, this one a man, taller than the girl, and in his mid-30s with a clean-shaven face, chiseled features and cold-piercing black eyes. He too wore a kimono, much like that of the girls. Although it seemed that he was ignoring them, Naruto's shinobi instincts were subtly focused on these two strangers, as the girl raised her eyes expectantly at the old man. It wasn't every day that someone got a bridge as huge as that named after them. Tazuna laughed loudly, mouth opening wide in genuine mirth, as he gave a small hick. Well, it's not his physical strength that really affected our town. If that was the case, we'd have named it, the Great Kakashi Bridge. That was his sensei's name. Instead, it was what he did for our country emotionally that made a difference. The girl tilted her head, glancing at the man in disbelief. Emotionally. What the hell's that supposed to mean, you old? The man placed a hand on her shoulder and shot her a disapproving glare, as he gave it a squeeze. Tsuki, that is quite enough. Giving a small bow to Tazuna, he apologized. Gomenosai Tazuna-san, please continue. Tazuna was more than happy to do so, as he took another swing from the bottle he held in his hand. Well, in a way, he united us all and gave us the strength to fight against Gato and his financial oppression. It wasn't until Naruto arrived that our town was able to flourish, and as such, the villagers and I found it fitting to name it after him. After all, the bridge is uniting us with the rest of the shinobi world. Tazuna paused as if remembering something, before turning to the navy-haired girl, who was now looking at Naruto. But what brings you two strangers here? The girl blinked but the man shrugged slightly, her frown deepening by a minuscule amount. We are merely simple travelers passing through your fine homeland. But may I ask, do you know where we could find this Naruto you speak with such reverence about? Now Naruto was intrigued and detaching himself from the wall, he stalked over to the man, making himself known to the two strangers. That would be me, what about it? The old man's smirk widened, and a mischievous glint appeared in his eyes. Naruto, do you know these two? The blonde shook his head. I do not. Perhaps they would introduce themselves. As he said introduce, he reached behind his back for the hilt of his blade, making the unspoken threat quite obvious. The man saw it as well, and bowed deeply, the girl following suit albeit a bit reluctantly, a second later. Ah, so you are Naruto Uzumaki? No. Naruto gave a firm nod. You already know this, but what business do you have with me? He now raised himself up and the girl mimicked him, giving the man beside her a glare for making her bow, but she was silent as he spoke. Do you remember Princess Kazuhana Kayuki? Naruto blinked in surprise at the mention of the name and of course Tazuna took it the wrong way. I see Naruto's moved on from Sakura-chan. I'm glad you're seeing someone else and a princess to boot, good choice. The Junin missing nin gawked at the old man in bewilderment as he thought. What the hell was he trying to imply? Tazuna cackled wildly at the look of confusion on Naruto's face before saying jovially, "Just kidding, my boy." Luckily for Tazuna, before Naruto could rake him over the coals, Tsunami chose that moment to walk into the room with the drinks. "Oh, did I miss something?" she asked, setting the tray down on the large table before taking a place next to Naruto. "No." Naruto grumbled in irritation at not being able to reprimand her father for his teasing insinuations in regard to him and Princess Kayuki. Finally, the man decided to introduce himself. "I am Asaki, and this is my niece, Suki. We bring you word from Princess Kayuki." Asaki then pulled out a white envelope from the large folds of his sleeve, and handed it to Naruto, who promptly opened it, as he recognized the seal of the leader of Spring Country. "We are here on her behalf, as Princess Kayuki asked us to seek out the hero who saved her in the past and urgently requests his presence in our land once more." He gave a small nod as he read over the letter, and looked at the pictures attached to it. "Naruto, if you are reading this, then Asaki and Suki have succeeded in finding you. I'm sure you are wondering why you have been given this." Naruto now looked at the pictures, and let in a sharp intake of breath, as he looked over the pictures that depicted fires, and terrible blizzards ravaging the Spring Country. And in one of those pictures he saw an all too familiar face. Even though the face was heavily scarred, he recognized it immediately, his eyes narrowing at the sight of a man brutally slaughtering a villager. Dotu. Now he returned to reading the letter with earnest, as he thought with alarm. "Okami, how did he live? Dotu is alive. He has been wreaking havoc upon our lands and we have tried all methods to rid ourselves of him. But all the other villages that we requested aid from have turned us down. Naturally, we asked the Leaf for aid, but the team they sent was never seen after they pursued my uncle. All those were sent out against Dotu either came back in a coffin or were never seen again. Sasuke visited recently in search of you and it was then that I learned you had left the Leaf Village. I don't know why you've left the Leaf Village, but if you did, I am sure you had a good reason. I took a chance that you might have gone to the Wave Country, remembering you telling me about your first mission as a Leaf Shinobi when we both were imprisoned by Dotu years ago, before you rescued our land. This brings me to my reason for sending Asaki and Suki to you. I ask you this not as an employer, but as a friend. I beg of you to come to Spring Country and help free us from Dotu's tyranny. Please Naruto-kun, save my people and our land once more. Give our land hope once again as you did before. Kazuhana Kayuki." Naruto felt rage simmering in his body, but maintained control, as he neatly folded the letter and looked to the two messengers and calmly stated, "No." The two Spring representatives were taken aback. What? Suki stammered, whilst Asaki was in a state of shock. Naruto repeated himself and tossed them back the letter, but kept the photos. "I said no." Suki looked ready to go at him right then and there, but Asaki held her in check. "Naruto-sama, why are you refusing to come to the aid of our princess? I have a boat waiting and we could be back in the Spring Country within a day." Naruto snorted as he turned his back to them, arms crossed over his chest. "I refuse. Now be gone, before I do something you might regret." Asaki sighed as he looked to Suki. "Very well then, here is the address of a boat we had ready for your use, should you change your mind, Naruto-san." The missing nin took it, but paid them no heed. "I won't be needing it." Asaki sadly shook his head, as Suki venomously hissed at the stubborn nin. "Is this the great Naruto, the one that our princess always spoke so highly of? I expected someone more kind. You are not him." With that stinging comment, she turned and with Asaki following her stormed out the door, quietly closing it behind her. Naruto rolled his eyes and spat as they left. "Irritating girl, reminds me Sakura, good riddance." Tazuna cast him a drunken glare, whilst a confused Tsunami protested against his gruff and rude response to the messengers. "Why did you?" Naruto held up a hand to silence her question before he showed him the picture again and pointed to the red ring on the man's finger and said, "The reason I refused him is because this Dotu is an imposter. The land of Spring may be in danger, but it's the Akatsuki who are lying in wait for me. I'm not yet ready to face them, so it's best for them to think I'm not coming, then to give them a timeline and fall into the trap that is waiting there for me. I will help Princess Kayuki, but when I do I have to be ready for an all-out war when I go there." Hours later, the party had finally wound down, and Naruto knew that he could stay no longer, as the last of the guests bid the goodbyes. "Ah, why do you have to go, Naruto-Nizan?" Inari groaned in complaint, as Naruto ruffled his spiky black hair. Sorry, Inari, but I've already put your family at too much of a risk. He wrapped the boy in a hug, and then did the same with Tazuna. When he came to Tsunami, he allowed the woman to give him a peck on the cheek before asking, "Will you come back?" He shrugged as he placed his hand on the doorknob. "Perhaps one day I can, farewell to all of you." Then he was gone, as he walked through the door and into the night. The old man jumped visibly at the sudden appearance of Naruto in his workshop and was about to protest when the clinking sound of a large bag of 100 gold coins hit his table, silencing the mask maker. "Make me a mask," Naruto sternly ordered. The old man nodded as he counted the 100 gold coins and inquired, "Any specifics?" Naruto handed him a design on a piece of parchment and his tone held no question as to what he wanted. "I want it to be unbreakable, and if it can change my voice, that would acceptable also." The mask maker gave a low whistle as he gazed at the design. "This is very intricate and I'll have to use my finest materials to meet your requests on the strength and voice altering capabilities." Naruto was not in the mood for trivial details. "How long?" The sagely old man rubbed his chin as gave his estimate. 12 hours, I would say should do it. Another large bag of 100 gold coins hit his table and Naruto coolly commented, "That's yours if you can do it 6 hours. The old mask maker nodded his head in agreement, as he knew he could produce the mask in that amount of time. He would just have to actually work at a more accelerated rate than the normal leisurely pace he took with his work. Naruto took up a seat in the corner of his shop and leaning back closed eyes, as the sound of the old man working droned on in the background. Nearly 6 hours later the aged mask maker held up the mask, and a smile was set upon his wrinkled features, as he called out, "This is the finest piece of material I've ever crafted, go ahead lad, put it on." Naruto took the mask and placed it over his face. He was amazed at how smooth it felt, almost as if it was a second skin. When he spoke, his voice sounded like a mix between his and the Kyuubi's. "Perfect, you deserve a tip." Reaching behind his back, he now tossed the man another equally large pouch of money before adding, "I may require your services again later." The mask maker took a puff of his pipe and nodded once, as he eyed the generous sum of money he had been given this night and commented appreciatively, "If you keep paying me like this, then I'll make masks for you and you only. A wise choice and you will tell no one of my presence here, understood?" The wizened mask maker gulped nervously at the underlying tone of what would happen to him should he reveal to anyone that Naruto was here on this evening. However, his fear soon abated when more money was dropped onto the table to emphasize his point. Again the mask maker nodded in understanding. Naruto then turned and walked out into the night, leaving the stunned man to count the generous sum of money he had been given this night. Later on the road, the sun had just risen when Naruto stopped walking, as he felt some familiar chakra signatures. "I knew Bar-chan would send someone, but you, why did she have to send you?" Naruto painfully wondered to himself. Naruto then turned around and the mask was on his face, making his Anbu opponent pause with concern when he saw Naruto's now crystal blue eyes behind it, the whites of his eyes black where they should have been white. Seconds later, he ran through a series of hand seals and Naruto's masked fangs curved upward in a sad grin as he found himself bound in place, unable to move. Or so the Anbu Junin thought, until Naruto cracked his neck from side to side, and gave a bitter laugh, opening his fangs, and making him a truly fearsome sight indeed. The blonde missing nin then reached behind his back and pulled out his massive blade, holding it with his right hand, while leaving his other hand free to make hand seals, should he need them before remarking, "Shadow possession, pitiful, don't you have any better tricks than that Shikamaru?" The Nara gulped apprehensively, as he heard Naruto's mutated voice and saw the scratched leaf headband that was now around his neck. Shaking off his anxiety and mustering up his courage, the Anbu commander ordered with authority, "Naruto, you're coming back to the village, don't force us to make you go back." Naruto slowly shook his head and unexpectedly the Anbu team suddenly found it very hard to breathe, as the air grew thick with Naruto's oppressive chakra pressure. "What the hell? This can't be Naruto," all of them thought while struggling to maintain themselves. The missing nin noticed the startled look on the face of his friend and gave a small chuckle as he began to swing the blade in a slow circle, smoothly and effortlessly before asking with devious mirth, "Well then Shikamaru, shall we begin our little dance?" That will be it for this video. If you want more, comment down below, like, subscribe. And see you guys later.